So I just went to AMC's Unseen screening, and the movie was One Life. So let's talk about it. Okay, so One Life is a movie that is coming to the big screen for you guys to go and check out. And this movie is all about a person that is known as Nicholas Winton. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with his story, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory to it. So this is a guy who lived in England at the time when Hitler was, starting the war. He was invading Europe, invading Poland. You guys know all the rest. Nicholas took it upon himself to go to Czech Republic to help out there and see what's going on and see what he could do. In the midst of all that stuff, he finds these children who are living in unimaginable conditions in the freezing cold, and they're not going to make it past winter. So he makes it his mission, his goal, his vow to get as many kids out of Prague as possible and bring them to England into foster cares and that while everything's going on, so they're in a safe environment so that they can go and return home and live peacefully. So that's what this story is about. And Anthony Hopkins plays the older version of Nicholas, and this movie's really good. Now, I didn't know about this story. I only know basically, I know about this war and what happened, what Hitler did and the Holocaust and everything like that and all the horror that was within this war. And it is one of the darkest times in the human race history. Like one of the darkest moments you could have. And like we always say, would you go back and change it if you could? And it's one of those questions that's always poised. But this story is about this guy who risked himself, and it's not just him. There's a lot of other people in this movie and these people in real life who risked their lives to save as many kids as possible. And this movie is very heartfelt, very emotional, and especially towards the end. So the way they tell this story is they do it in bits here and there. So what they do is they focus on the future where we see the older version of Nicholas. And we're starting to go with him and how he's reflecting on what he did back then and things are haunting him about what happened. And then it will cut to that time period where he's there and he's actually hands-on trying to get them free and trying to get these kids across, and how he came up with the idea, how can we get these kids to Britain? What do we need to do? So it transitions from each one to each scene like that, which I thought was a very good way to tell this story, because there's a way that sometimes they do these stories where we follow them throughout the whole journey and then we get them when they're older and the impact is still there, but it's not as impactful. It's not as emotional, where we're watching a guy who's older reflect on these moments of his life and what he was able to do, so that when you do get to the ending of this film and you just feel, man, it hits you right in the heart. I was gobsmacked. Like, I was on the verge. I was on the verge of the waterworks coming out. I was so close, because this is a powerful and moving story that I didn't even know about. And I'm glad that there's a movie like this that brings this story to life, because of the events that these people went through and what they had to do in order to save these people. And what I love is this guy saved hundreds of kids. Just saved them, got them out of there and everything. But then there was like the heart-wrenching moment of the ones that couldn't be saved, and they're the ones that haunt him to this day. And there's this running theme going on with him as the older Nicholas, where he's like, I don't really think about what happened to the kids or anything like that. So he's trying to block it out of like the potential of what happened to these kids, because he feels the guilt, because he wasn't quick enough. He wasn't able to get everyone out. And they were so close to getting this last lot out. So close. But only stumbled at the finish line there. Meanwhile, he still saved 600 plus kids. Like let's not twist it and like he only saved 50. This man saved 650 plus kids, man. He saved so many of them, but it's the ones in the final bit that he couldn't get across the line that haunt him to this day. And I thought that was real, because it's really good, because there's so many things that happen in life where people have this like I wouldn't really say survivor guilt, but like the guilt of not being able to save those people, and like the always in the back of your mind of the process of, maybe I could have done more. I could have done this. Maybe I could have pushed this a bit further, pushed harder here and there, and these kids could still be alive. And it's the unknown of what come to these kids and what the horrors they ended up going through. And it's so powerful. And like, you gotta give this guy credit, man. He still saved 600 odd plus kids, man. And that's what I mean by when you get to the end of the movie, you're rewarded with this wholesome moment. And man, Anthony Hopkins, I mean, the guy is just a legend in the industry. He is phenomenal. I mean, the last movie that I saw him in that I thought he was superb, I believe he might have won the Oscar for it. I can't quite remember. But The Father, superb in that. In this movie, he is superb as well. And I got to give a shout out to the guy that played the younger version of Nicky. He was brilliant. And dude, the casting, he looks identical almost to a young Nicholas in this movie. Like, he looks identical because they show you the photos at the end of the movie. He looks very identical. And I thought he did a brilliant job. And there's one scene at the end where he's at a train station. And that scene there is just so haunting and daunting to watch. You're just sitting there and your stomach and heart just drop. It just drops. It's incredible, man. This is a movie that I think people should go see because it just educates you a little bit more of what happened more so in the midst of this war happening, and how certain people had it, and what actual unsung heroes that don't wear capes or anything like that come and save people. Like, these guys are heroes, man. And to hear what happened to the other ones as well, it's sad, but dude, man, and the cinematography is great. This score is haunting when it needs to be. Like, there's scenes where the Nazis are walking around the train and stuff like that, and you have the kids there, and the score elevates the scene. It just adds that terror and that haunting presence of like, man, something bad's about to happen. So overall, performances are great. The story is fantastic. It's really eye-opening and shows you the true horrors as well. Like, obviously it's not to the point, because you don't see it like, say, other movies that deal with the Holocaust and they showcase you, like a Schindler's List and stuff like that, where they showcase you the sheer terror of what people had to go through, and that, where you only watch that movie once and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't show you that side of horror, but it shows you just the fear that people were feeling at that moment before the war began. So, but overall, I really enjoyed this movie. Let me know what you guys thought. If you guys saw it, smash your thoughts down in the comment section below. Smash that like button for me. Click subscribe. See you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.